Hello geometers, and welcome to the video on rotations and rotating rules in a coordinate plane in increments of 90 degrees. Now we've already talked about and solved this problem where we know that rotating 90 degrees around the origin, okay, so the origin here is a big deal as the center of our rotation, uses the rule AB becomes negative BA. In other words, you swap the coordinates, so take A and B and swap them, and then multiply the new x coordinate by -1. And so we've seen some examples of this already in class and maybe in the other videos as to why this is true. So now I want to discuss what is the rule for rotating 180 degrees. Now, we don't want to just keep having to break out a compass, a ruler, a protractor every time, especially in cases like this where we're able to do it without such methods, something a little bit better. So the trick to looking at 180 is that what you're really doing is you're rotating by 90 degrees twice. Okay, so we're doing this 2 times. So let's start out at first AB, and if you rotate it 90 degrees, then you employ this rule. Swap the coordinates, then multiply the new x coordinate by -1. Okay, so that means we've rotated it 90 degrees. Now to rotate 180 degrees, well, all we have to do is take the result from 90 degrees and rotate it by 90 degrees again. And we can employ this rule, swap the coordinates, so take these two and just flip them, and then multiply the new x coordinate by -1. So the new x coordinate is A, so now that becomes -A. So in short, to rotate, so to summarize it, to rotate 180 degrees, we can just take AB and it becomes -A, -B. Now, let's continue on here and look at rotating 270 degrees. Well, what is 270 degrees except rotating by 180 degrees and then by 90 degrees? So rotate 180 degrees and then 90 degrees. Well, if you rotate 180 degrees, then we already know from our previous rule that AB will become -A, -B. And then we need to do it. We need to rotate 90 degrees again. Okay, so if you rotate 90 degrees, then we apply the rule that we had before, which is to swap the coordinates, and then swap them. So take these two and swap them, and then rotate it, and then multiply the new x coordinate by -1. So this becomes a positive B, -A. Okay, and of course, there's one more rule that we can, I should say. What if you rotate 360 degrees? Well, that should be very simple. AB is just going to stay AB, because if you rotate something 360 degrees, you end up back at where you were before. So these are nice rules here for us to keep in mind: rotating 90, rotating 180 degrees, and rotating 270 degrees. Okay. Is good rules for us to keep in mind. Now, if you ever forget, you really only need the rule for 90, because if you know the rule for 90, you can just apply it multiple times to get the rule for 180 and the rule for 270. So I'll end this video here, and we will look at image matrices and some examples.